Hey, something we have been neglecting on the channel is one series in particular more than any other, and I grew up loving it like anyone else, so I thought we should take a look at one particular episode with a villain so scary, it's come up as perhaps one of the scariest. I do believe we have a recurring series on the channel for that. Today we're inducting the first scariest villain to come from a pup named Scooby-Doo, and we don't have to go very far into the show to get there. This is Season 1, Episode 5, For Letter or Worse. Originally aired October 8th, 1988. Our villain of the day, the ghost of Al Cabone. Obviously, the character is a parody of the infamous 1920s crime lord himself, Al Capone. But Cabone now, because get it? Bone, he's dead. This was definitely one of the memorable episodes for me growing up now that I throw myself back into it. I personally had the individual volume DVDs growing up, which was how I was exposed to and watched the show originally. And with old Al Capone on the cover of Volume 2, he always stood out as haunting. There's something so deeply off-putting about him. His hair, his face, but especially that horrifying smile. It seems the episode is quite the popular one in general, having been one of only 5 pup episodes to make it onto the 50th anniversary Best of DVD in 2019. I tend to not watch this show really anymore. I sort of view it a little more juvenile as I grow older, but I do have passionate nostalgia for it, so I think it's time to start handing it some respect. Let's take a look at this one. Scooby-Doo, a pup named Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo. This episode opens up at the TV station HBTV for the filming of the show For Letter or Worse. Firstly, obviously, HBTV is a reference to Hanna-Barbera, which is a cute little in-house nod. As for the show, For Letter or Worse we will find to be a parody of long-running show Wheel of Fortune. The whole gang are sat in the audience, along with the twins Bobby and Betsy Brainy. Shaggy in this show is so funny, because he looks like a cute kid as with the rest of them, baby fat and all despite how skinny he perpetually is, but then he has the voice of an old man as the only human member of the gang to retain his original voice. Love Scooby putting this watermelon in his mouth, no notes. Freddy, of course, is passing time with a UFO magazine. The contrast of him growing up to be one of the most rational thinkers makes me wonder what happened to change him. The harsh reality of growing up. We get some nasty words from these two, specifically called the Brainy Bunch, which is indeed a parody of the Brady Bunch, at least verbally. The two should definitely sound familiar. Kath Soucie has been in many Scooby episodes, but especially would be recognized as Bobby here because she's doing the same voice she does as Phil in Rugrats. Perhaps less vocally recognizable in this role of Betsy is BJ Ward, who is also Googie in Reluctant Werewolf, and a decade later would take over voicing Velma for the Zombie Island era. Shaggy's hot dog shoots his dog right out, so his other dog chases after it for him, landing around some creepy floating feet, and we get our reveal of our spook of the evening, looking as genuinely disturbing with his weird skeletal face and flowing hair as ever. At least he's considerate giving Scooby the weenie back. With Cabone being a parody of Capone, him saying this all the time is based on actor Edward G. Robinson, who didn't play Capone exactly, but was known for characters basically just like him in a lot of films, and would effectively talk just like that. Is this a safe space to admit I would always go around saying blah, see, blah after watching this episode? Original Fred voice actor Frank Welker is making a special appearance as his voice, by the way. Scoob runs right through the twins, as he should for their prior bullying, but only Shaggy believes his ghost sighting. It's almost time for the show to start though, and interestingly, we get a weird kind of mashup of shows here, because rather than the host being a parody of the host of Wheel of Fortune, the show we are doing a parody of, Davey the Letter Guy's name is a play on David Letterman. Davey the Letter Guy? David Letterman? Get it? Yeah. Bro even has a shirt with his face on it. Christina, a magician also voiced by Kath Soucie, walks out to be very overly affectionate with Davey and congratulates him on his show being extended to an hour. And we get our info dump that her magic show was cancelled for the sake of that, and her face before she walks off tells us a lot.
Did you like Christina's show?
Are you kidding? But I love the way she dresses. Especially those rings.
The show begins and Shag and Scoob get chosen to go first.
Ross? That's right, Brew!
And their opponents are, none other than the Brainy Bunch themselves. Running over pretty sure they have this one in the bag. In being based on Wheel of Fortune, the contestants have to fish for a letter, guess the word, and try to get points here. Even as the boys get intimidated by the length of the first one, the Brainy Bunch get it without even fishing.
It's establishmentarianism.
Eventually, we have a score of 0 versus 25,321, so not great for the last round. The lights suddenly start to flicker, and down floats the gruesome Al Cabone. Blah, see?
A free-floating spectral apparition. Why, yes, it is.
He really is so off-putting in a way so many pup villains aren't. Despite freaking everyone out, Daphne remains an unbothered queen.
Blah, say, blah.
Imagine how annoying I must have been going around sounding like that every time I watched this. Since Daff refuses to go, Scoob literally picks her up on a forklift to forcibly remove her as Cabone sassily tells them to leave. Later, they find the owner is now selling the TV station because of this, and this guy, Pop O'Connor, overhears them talking about the ghost, saying it's Al Cabone. Pop, as a former stagehand here, tells the story, and I do love the weird little overreaction characters have in this show, like when he yells that it's scary. We flash back to a mansion where the station now sits, and see the living Al Cabone, who does not have the luscious locks he seems to have in death. He supposedly had a secret vault with his loot, and the cops got him before he could empty it, Velma pulling out her portable computer to take notes. Cabone swore he'd come back for his money as he was taken away, and after he died in jail, his ghost came back for it. It seems clear Pop believes they should not go back to the station that has manifested its own storm around it now, waving around his hand with this big ol' ring on it. Much as the boys do not want to be here, Fred has decided the Scooby-Doo Detective Agency is on the case anyway, giving a dramatic speech as the others pluck it out. We'll be right back.
Search no further. A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, the complete first season. On DVD, like, for the first time ever.
Oh, boy! Like we're gonna be on TV, Scoob! Yeah!
With over 4 hours of spine-tingling entertainment.
Zoinks! It's the ghost!
No mystery's too big.
Like hide, Scoob!
No snack is too small.
You did it, Scoob! You like caught the ghost!
For a pup named
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, the complete first season. Look for it on DVD.
The gang suddenly hear a terrible noise traced back to the hooting and hollering of this magician, the Great Mel, playing an accordion with his beautiful rings on, though the station manager is not having it, not only closing it down anyway, but saying he turned the guy down 2 weeks ago already. The Great Mel says that maybe the ghost would go away if he'd hire him, and when the manager drives away, says he'll be sorry. Write that down, write that down. Fred catches that last part and interrogates the Great Mel, who just leaves, so it seems they have to break into the station. Daphne even brings a truckload of Scooby snacks to get RK9 to agree to it. Inside the station, Shaggy and the very well-treated Scooby end up on the set of Count Chocula's Friday Night Horror Hangout show, with a little spook from Velma, and while Scoob does a vampire impression in the mirror, old Al Cabone gives him a jump scare where the crash out is justified with this guy blah blahing all over them. Velma cuts through the paper wall of the set, so with one more scare, they dash out of there, while Fred and Daff start following a trail of peanut shells that stop at a wall. Of course, Freddy's first guess is the Martians are trying to cut off our PB&J sandwich supply. The other three run into them while the ghost bangs on the wall, Scooby finding a dusty diary in the process that seems to be a clue, belonging to Pop O'Connor. He apparently used to be a famous radio star whose career was ruined when the radio station became a TV station, which easily gives him motive to be upset with it.
And try to take over the world!
Yeah!
With a tunnel conveniently right behind them, they decide to follow, and Velma even has a giant spotlight in her little briefcase to light up for the boys. The tunnel takes them right over to the set of For Letter or Worse, explaining how he got in. And speaking of getting in, there he is in all his terrifying glory.
Yeah!
We get a brief chase scene next, and though it does have music, it's still also the first episode of the show to not have a chase song, interestingly. As Fred paces around later, he's certain he's got this all wrapped up. Shaggy and Scoob believe it's the Great Mel, upset about not being hired, remembering his comment about the ghost going away if he was. But Daphne is sure it's Pop O'Connor, his diary revealing his anger about the TV station ruining his radio career. Freddy, however, disagrees with both theories, because clearly it is
Red herring!
He's not even in this episode.
very important fourth wall break, especially with this being the first episode where Red doesn't appear at all beyond this. You know Velma comes in with the truth, which is that everyone, except Freddy, is actually right, and she has a plan ready. So Scoob is sent out to lure Cabone in, who immediately falls for it. However, he stepped onto a hot set, the fake crowd going wild as For Letter or Worse starts with special host Shaggy the Letter Guy. Fitting as Casey Kasem, his voice actor, also voiced Davey earlier. Cabone is very confused, Scooby already in place for competing against him, so Daphne fetches him over so he can start guessing the letters to reveal his own identity.
Like, what's your next guess? Oh, like, I'm sorry, sir, that letter isn't there.
Scoob's turn is up next, doing so well that he fills in most of the answer as Cabone gets fed up that he's being left out. Scooby decides to guess the answer is Christina is the ghost, which is indeed correct and wins him the game. Doesn't take her long to fall out of character either.
Hey, you can't do that.
Shaggy dumps her into the pool, while the station manager runs over, and they unmask Christina officially. The manager is shocked, having thought it was the Great Mel, but as the gang explain, it was him and also was Pop O'Connor. Thelma goes over the evidence, starting with Daphne noticing Christina's noticeable rings when she exited earlier. Daphne adds that when Christina heard her show was getting cancelled, she created the Great Mel character to put suspicion on him instead of her, but left on her noticeable rings. Likewise, she created Pop O'Connor as a second additional suspect, but yet again left the rings on full display. The manager is surprised since Christina didn't seem upset about losing her show, but her acceptance was part of the act.
And I would have gotten away with it too if
If it weren't for us pesky kids and a pup named Scooby-Doo.
Later, the boys and Brady Bunch are back on set for a do-over of the end of their episode. Though with the points racked up, it doesn't look good. Betsy fishes out a Z, 2 of them appearing. But as they need to guess the bonus word to win, they freeze up at the thought of a 5-letter word with 2 Z's. As they run out of time, the boys get a chance to answer, confidently guessing pizza and winning the bonus round. And it just so happens that the bonus word is worth 30,003 points, which seems a little rigged and unfair, but whatever. The boys win the game against the bratty Brainy Bunch, who get to take a dive into the pool as losers. With the boys winning a year's supply of ice cream, comics, and Scooby snacks though, the boys would probably enjoy it more anyway.
I couldn't have done it without a little help from a pup named Scooby-Doo.
And that's for Letter or Worse. Even as someone who doesn't watch this particular series as often, this is one of those episodes that immediately comes back to me as one of the most haunting and memorable from when I was younger, and it has a lot going for it as well, beyond the design of our villain. I really like seeing women be under the mask, but Christina is also a beautiful baddie under the mask. She could be doing anything, but she loves doing magic so much that she dedicated the time to this, and she was putting in that extra effort to get away with it as well. She really might have, if not for the meddling kids. Dressing up as an entirely different person so that they take suspicion away from you is one thing, but to do it twice, one of them being an old man? She even fabricated an entire backstory and diary for Pop. Like, she was doing way more than some of these other villains to get her revenge. At this point, just let her have the show. She is clearly someone that goes above and beyond. Maybe she should have communicated as well, since the manager wasn't aware she was upset. Like, maybe they could have figured something out somewhere. As for her piece d'resistance, however, Al Cabone has to easily be one of the scariest and most messed up villain designs. Even more remarkable how beautiful the woman underneath him is. There's something about Frank Welker's otherworldly mobster voice that I so often would imitate, mixed with that terrible skeletal face and those teeth, the flowing hair that just somehow adds to how uncomfortable it all comes together. He isn't the most violent or dangerous ghostly villain we've ever seen. He hardly did any real crime beyond cause mischief and panic, but man, when it comes to the looks department, I do not want to be around him. I don't need to see violence, I'm already on. I can't think of too many other villains of Pup that hit just that level of memorable spooky as he manages to do. Having so many red herrings, and all of them turning out to be correct because it's all the same person, is such a genius idea for an episode, even if the rings make it a little obvious. But hey, this one's kind of aimed at a younger audience than usual, which is why I don't really enjoy it as much now, so a strong episode can be forgiven for needing to be a little obvious. The lack of red herring himself amongst the many actual red herrings also makes this one stand out as unusual, enough that the joke about him not being in it works really well, because you know Freddy has to accuse him at some point. The Brainy Bunch are annoying. I'm glad they aren't in any other episodes, but it's nothing to do with their voice actors, who obviously are quite fantastic in other roles. The brats themselves are just insufferable, but they do their job, and they add one more thing to make this episode memorable. If there's a good place to start spotlighting episodes of a Pup, I think For Letter or Worse is a pretty good place to be. Hopefully you enjoyed looking at this one, and maybe we'll look at some more Pup in the future. If you want more Scooby in general, I just dropped the latest episode in the miniseries covering all of the new Scooby-Doo movies episodes. Definitely check that out if you want some real throwbacks. I also just put out the first half of the new Patreon exclusive bonus video, and the second half will be coming after this one is done, as well as the full cut. That video will only be on Patreon just as a special thanks for supporters there, new and old, so if you do want to support the channel over there, which is the main point, you do now at least have something special waiting. I believe that's all we have for today though, so maybe I'll see you around. Bye!
Scooby, a puppy named Scooby, Scooby, a puppy named